The bees are busy in the garden at the lavender, and I am busy today with tomatoes. So I'm so excited. I have my tomato shirt on, but I also have a whole tray of tomatoes that are large enough and ready to get put into the garden. Now, this is slightly earlier than I normally put them in, but they have been on the deck hardening off for some time now, and they are ready to go. So we're gonna plant, I have 10 of them here, but we're gonna see how many we can get planted in the next hour or so. Now I have my garden plan here, which I think the majority of these tomatoes are going to go in this bed behind me, but also on this trellis we have some tomatoes to plant. Oh, and maybe this. Okay, we have a few trellises around the garden that I am going to put in whatever tomatoes are large enough and ready. As you can see, I have been busy putting straw on all of the beds to mulch them early and get them covered before the soil starts to get dry. We've been getting a lot of rain and a lot of wind. I'm so sick of the wind, but that is not here today. We have a beautiful, beautiful day. There's no wind, the sun is out, and we're gonna make the most of it today. So in this end section here, I think I have 2 tomatoes. Yeah, I have a Kellogg's Breakfast and a red beefsteak. These are both, I think all of the tomatoes I'm planting here, at least for today, are indeterminate, which means they will continue and grow up this trellis here. The trellis is about 6 feet or 2 meters high, and the tomatoes will continue growing past that, but it has helped to add in that second section. I was using stakes and just rigging them up somehow, but now that I have that second section, it's a lot more helpful. But I'm gonna go ahead and get in that red beefsteak and a Kellogg's Breakfast. What I'm doing in order to maximize my space is I'm going to eventually, there's going to be 3 plants that are planted right underneath these trellises. I'm going to do 2 more indeterminate ones on this side, which I'm going to stake up and then eventually lean in towards the trellis. And then on the other side, I have 3 determinate tomatoes that I'm going to plant, and they're obviously just going to need cages on that side. That way I can get in, 6 and 8 tomatoes into this bed. I've never tried this before, but there are so many tomatoes that I want to grow this year. We're gonna give it a go and see how it all works as far as having enough airflow and having enough space on that trellis. I'm just moving this mulch aside. Oh, it's so nice and moist underneath it. And I'm going to dig a hole. We're gonna dig them in very deep. And then I'm just gonna bring that mulch back in close to it, not right up to the stem, because if it does continue to rain, I don't want it to rot the stem out. So I'll leave an inch or so around the stem. And there we have it. And these pretty soon, once they hit the trellis, I'll start staking them up. In the meantime, some of these lower branches, I'm just going to trim off. In this next section, I have a red beefsteak, an ox heart, and a Kellogg's Breakfast to put in this one. And then in that last section, I'm going to have a tangella, a moneymaker, and an ox heart. Now, I know you probably saw that as I was planting them, I was pulling off some of the lower leaves, and that is just so as it rains or as I water them and it splashes back up, there's less for it to splash on, and that will help prevent some disease. So I take off all of the lower leaves. I also trim them to 1 or 2 main leaders, which means that the main stem that it has right now, that is the only one that I keep, either that or I keep 2 of those. So for instance, with this plant here, this is the Tangella. It is a cherry tomato, and I've noticed that it is creating a lot of these side shoots. I don't want all of those. I just want to keep this one main leader. Eventually, I will probably lose track and there will end up being 2 main leaders. But at the moment, I just want to keep this one. So all of these little pieces that are coming out in between the leaf and the main stem, I'm just going to pinch off the whole bit. And then they can't create another side shoot. So like this one here, look at, we already have some flowers that are about to come. This is about to create, this is weird actually, it's got a few things coming out of here. I might actually leave this one. It's getting a little bit bigger, but I know I just said 1, but we're not. We're gonna do 2 for this one. And there's one behind here that's snuck. We're gonna keep that. And there's already flowers that are about to start forming on this one. Yay. Your cherry tomatoes do tend to start producing tomatoes faster than your larger tomatoes. They also come, they produce sooner, they produce in an abundance, and they ripen very quickly. So cherry tomatoes, if you want something quick and easy, they're usually the way to go. But if you want like a nice thick sauce, you want to go for your larger tomatoes, your larger sauce tomatoes, where if you're just looking to roast something up quickly for a sauce, you can use cherry tomatoes. They'll have a really intense flavor, so they're often nice to do that. But I like to do larger sauce tomatoes for my sauce, and I use cherry tomatoes for salads and fresh eating. I'm gonna go ahead and finish planting these couple of tomatoes that are left in the trays. I'm gonna grab another tray of tomatoes and we're gonna see what else we can get planted. And while I do that, I'm just going to do a bit of a flashback from yesterday when I tried to record today's video, but it didn't work because it was way too windy and it started to rain. So that is a bit of a seedling update. So I'll do that while I do some more planting, and then we'll come back and I'll let you see what else I've planted. We're currently in the greenhouse because I wanted to show you everything that I have growing. It's been a few weeks since I've updated you on anything, and a lot has happened over these past couple weeks. There are so many seedlings growing. So I have not only this whole greenhouse full, but outside I'll show you as well. There are heaps of plants on the deck, and I've already started selling. So things are going really, really well. Now, these are all of the plants that have not been, most of them in here are plants that have not been up potted yet. So you can probably see behind me that there are some of them in here that are in the larger pots. These are primarily my chilies or eggplants that I'm selling at the market. Mine are actually like out there, except for my red habaneros I have in here. So everything else, so everything of mine is out there getting ready to go out into the garden, but just some of these so I can keep them looking a little bit healthier looking, and they're actually growing a bit better in the warmer temperatures in here. So I have kept some of them in here, as well as my basil, just because, I don't know, just because. So there's the eggplant I was talking about for the market. There are some zinnias. The zinnias really aren't doing much. 3 seeds I've put in each one. 4 grew in this one, but like those just have 1, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with those. Some smaller tomatoes that just needed a bit more time, and then all of my basil at various stages, because everyone loves basil. So I've been planting heaps and heaps of basil, and it's just been selling really quickly. Then these are all of my chilies I've been growing. There's a few different types. These are my zucchinis. Look how tall they are. I think because it's been kind of cloudy and they're just reaching for sun. They reach a little bit anyways in the greenhouse, but those are like really reaching, and I don't even know, can I even sell them? I don't know. What I do tend to do is take off this extra soil and just kind of leave it as like bare roots, and I pop them into the pot. So you can kind of tell like this will be able to come down to here, so I can kind of get maybe like that much into the soil, but it's still gonna leave it quite leggy. So I'm not really liking how leggy they are. I think they need to go outside. But some of my others, these are pumpkins I'm growing for my garden. There's some okra back there, cucumbers, more cucumbers, some other tomatoes and things down there. And then on the top here, we've got more and more tomatoes, just of various different varieties. Oh, there's some cucumbers up there. So you can kind of see I've got beefsteak, tangella. Tangella actually hasn't been selling very well at the markets, but I don't know why. They're like orange tomatoes and they're really cool. I've got my Sicilian paste. So my Sicilian paste has not germinated very well this year. I think they're older seeds, so that could be why, but they're just for myself. I'm just trying to get enough of them. And then I've got tiny little basils in the back there. And my chocolate cosmos, only a couple of those germinated. I think it was like $6 for like just 10 of them. So they're quite expensive for them, but they were just going to be for myself. I think three have germinated at this point out of the 6, which is half. That's not great, but we're gonna see what we can do, and then whatever grows, I'm gonna try and save my own seeds to try and sow them for next year. And then if we come over on this side, what do we have growing? These are more tomatoes, more peppers. This is mostly peppers over here. There's like my chilies, all different types. And then a few more tomatoes again. And like I said, like these tomatoes, they're a bit leggy. They're a bit leggier than I'd like them to be. I think it's because we haven't had very much sun. It's been quite cloudy and they're reaching for anything here in the greenhouse, but they should be fine. They are not too leggy like those zucchini are. They'll get nice thick stems once they go out into the elements and they start getting hit with more wind. And then down here, so these are some zinnias, I believe. Yeah, so my zinnias, again, straw flowers come up a little bit later, but they are starting to come up sporadically. Not great germination with those. Those are my red habaneros, some calendula that needs to go into the garden, eggplant, tomatoes, lettuce. I've planted a lot of lettuce, which I thought I would be able to sell at the market. I haven't sold any of them. I have heaps down on the floor here. That's why I keep looking down. I have heaps down on the floor that actually needs to go out into the garden. It's ready. And I just haven't. I keep telling myself I'm going to separate them out and then put them at the markets, but I haven't. All of this is lettuce down here that needs to be put into the garden. This here I did differently. This is actually my mesclun mix, I believe, and some rocket. I've just tried to sow it into a big 10-20 tray just to see if I can get it where I can just kind of clip it and eat it and get it to regrow, but we'll see. It's getting now to the point where I will want to clip and eat that pretty soon. I've got heaps of coriander or cilantro here. And then I have on one more shelf, more cilantro, some lemon balm that was self-seeded in my garden. And then these are all of my flowers. So those, I have coral colored zinnias this year. These are older seeds that are obviously not germinating well at all. My rose cosmos, more zinnias, and then I have some carnations down there. So there are a lot of things growing in the greenhouse, but there are also a lot of things growing right here on the deck. There are some of the zucchinis I've already potted up, and there are the rest of the seeds that I have growing for the market. A lot of seeds going on here. So let's see if I can kind of point out all of the different things. So towards the back there, all different tomato varieties. I try to have them each in their own 10-20 tray. Then as we get closer here, I have, oh, these are mine here. These are not for the market. So once you leave that like part here, those are for the markets. But anything that's in a square pot, those are for my garden. And see how that's labeled grocery? I have actually been able to sow some seeds from a grocery store tomato, which we don't really know what we're going to get with those. We could end up with something that is exactly like our store-bought tomato, but it could grow differently. So not really sure about that, but I have 5 of them. So we'll see if they all grow the same and what we get from them. But there's 5 that I'm gonna need to find some space for in the garden. I think I left space for like 1 or 2, but they germinated really well. So up here in the front, these are my tomatoes. I have my King of the North peppers I'm growing. I just noticed that one of them has died on me. It's actually rotted, and I think one of these leaves rotted away, and then it was like stuck against here and it's just killed it. So I just went through. You can see the same type of thing. It's kind of happening here. There's a little rotten spot, so I've taken that leaf off. Hopefully it saves it. And then my eggplants are doing pretty good out here in the elements, but obviously the leaves just aren't quite as green or as nice as the ones that are in the greenhouse in the warmth. Same thing here. These guys, like, they're a little bit rolled too much. I need to probably put them back in the greenhouse and let them be for a little bit. Then I've got some catnip, and I don't even know what all these are. Primrose. This is, oh, violas. And then this is, I don't even know, Cartha something, Zanzibar or something like that. I have more tomatoes that are for myself here, and then we have more market stuff. So I have my Cape gooseberries I'm selling, peppers, zucchinis, some flowers over here. This is all stuff that needs to be up potted. Lots and lots of stuff growing. I think I sowed these a little bit too early. These are rock melon and honeydew. That's a gold watermelon. Yeah, these were sown too early. They're not doing great at all. You can see they're yellowing leaves a bit. The loofah, however, is doing well, so that's good. And then we'll just have a quick look over here at our strawberries, because the strawberries are coming a long way. So they were not doing well last year, and they were not looking well at the beginning of this year. I put on some strawberry mix, some strawberry fertilizer, and they're coming back to life. It's just taken a little bit longer. So I think they're gonna be a little bit of a later harvest, but we are going to get some. Look how luscious and green they are. And they are starting to get little strawberry buds on them. We've got some strawberries here, some up here that are ready to start forming. That one. So it won't be long before I have to cover these guys. I haven't checked the ones in the vineyard lately, but if these guys are doing as well, I imagine they are doing super well too. So I will need to cover my strawberries soon, because if they're starting to form as soon as they turn red, I need to be the first one to see them, not the birds. Oh, I have planted my very first plant already for the season. It's not in the garden, but I have planted my first tomato. It's here. It was meant to be sold at the market, but there were a couple leaves on it that I just didn't really like. I thought maybe it was like an early blight. And I thought, I don't want to sell that. So I just pulled it. I took all the leaves off and I've planted it here. It's doing all right. We'll see how it goes. If I didn't want to put it down in the garden where I'm putting all of my other tomatoes, so I just kind of put it in that pot there. And we'll see what happens with it. But I'm gonna clear some space here, and we're gonna start to plant those seeds for the markets and our sunflowers. During that time, I was able to get about 30 plants planted. Not all tomatoes. I did about 15 tomatoes, some flowers, and then I just planted a load of peppers. And my gardening plan already is getting unreadable. I've gotten it wet, I've gotten it muddy, but hopefully I can at least get everything planted out before it gets completely unreadable. But let's go around and I'll just show you all of the different things that I planted while I was talking about my seedling update. So in my indeterminate tomato bed, I got a few more things planted. So in the center here, I just have some alyssum that I've planted. I have 6 of them going down the center. Some are, I don't know if they're all white and then they turn to purple, or if they are a mix. Not sure, but I have 6 of those planted down the center. And then if we come down to this end, I ended up planting this one here. This is, oh boy, can I remember what it is? No, a golden light. So the golden light is a type of Roma. It's an orange Roma. So actually the orange tomatoes are meant to be a little bit healthier for you. They have, is it lycosene? I believe, I'll put it down here at the bottom, that is absorbed by the body easier in an orange tomato than it is a red tomato. So typically that lycosene, which is a good antioxidant for helping prevent cancer and heart disease, that is absorbed in the body better when it's uncooked in an orange tomato, where it is good in a red tomato when it's cooked, but I don't know. We'll see. But I did plant some orange tomatoes because, like I had mentioned before, I want to do like a yellow tomato sauce, yellow orange tomato sauce, and that golden light Roma is an orange Roma. It's indeterminate, so it will end up climbing up this trellis. Planted another one over in the bed there, which is again on my archway here. And if we come up here towards the entrance, just on the outside of this fence, that is what I consider to be like an herb bed. I have a little trellis here. I was meant to be planting, I did plant butterfly peas down there. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, those little yellow-ish things right there. Sorry about my dirty finger. They are not growing well. I don't know. I tried to plant them earlier this year in hopes that they would have a better chance. They obviously don't. I think they're probably getting too much sun. That may be the issue. I'm not really sure, but doesn't matter. I'm not overly concerned about them. I did plant 2 green zebras on that trellis there, and I will let them grow up there on the outside. They're obviously a green tomato, so I'm not as concerned about the birds getting them. The birds don't start to reach for them until they're really soft, so I'm not concerned about the birds going after them. Green zebras. Okay, after that, then those were all the tomatoes and flowers that I planted. Then I planted my peppers. If we come down here to raised bed 2, you can see that I planted 3, 6, 9 King of the North peppers, and they are supposed to be really good in shorter summers. Obviously King of the North. However, here it's backwards because the further south you go, the colder or the shorter our summer is. Auckland has a good long summer, and it doesn't ever frost. It doesn't ever snow or anything like that. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't ever frost. It can frost, but it usually doesn't. These King of the North peppers, I want to know, we're trying them out for the first time this year because I'm curious to see if we can lengthen our pepper growing season and possibly get them to last all year round or produce all year round. I'm not sure about that because it does get a bit cold and it's hit with the elements here down behind me in the bush. The wind comes through, it gets quite cold, but we are going to see if we can lengthen our pepper season by planting the King of the North capsicums. Oh, look who's joined us. Hi. You're not really supposed to be in here because you're a naughty thing, huh? You're sneakies? Yeah. As long as you stay in the garden, you can stay in here. What do you smell? There were some, I know. Over where he is actually, in all of these white flowers, there are some wild strawberries. These are like wild strawberries, and you can see that one is starting to form here. They're just tiny little round things. I found one earlier and ate it, but I don't see any more ripe ones at the minute, but they are all wild strawberries. I can see that we're about to get into some trouble here, so I am going to end the video here for today, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how my seedlings are going and doing a little tomato planting. I am so excited to get everything into the garden. I'm hoping this is a busy weekend. I have tomorrow I have a market, and then on Sunday I have another market, and that is a big market, Auckland Plant Market. So I'm really excited about those. I'm hoping to sell lots and lots of seedlings, but hopefully during that time, or Monday. Is Monday the public holiday or is it the following Monday? But the days escape me at the minute. But I am going to, within the next week or so, try and get the majority of my stuff planted into the garden. Today I just wanted to get some of those bigger tomatoes in the garden and just get things going a little bit. But I will catch you in the next video where, well, I don't know what the next video is going to be at the minute, but I will definitely bring you along when I'm planting out the rest of my garden, and I will catch you in the next one. See you guys. All right, mosey along. Let's go. Keep going. Are you coming? Are you coming inside? Thought so.